Alright, hey guys, William Furno here today with a new LEGO Bionicle Summer 2016 review. This is the final review of Summer 2016 as it is the final set of Bionicle 2016 unless they release like a polybag or something, I don't know. Anyway, this is Umarak the Destroyer, the largest set of actually, no, is this the largest set in Bionicle G2? I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, this is the largest single character in Bionicle G2. So he has 191 pieces, and then on the back here it does show the combo model between him, Quake Beast, Lava Beast, and Storm Beast, and then you do have his functions up here. You have a comic showing Umarak putting the Mask of Control on, turning into Umarak the Destroyer, and then he goes to this volcano, kind of scratching the rocks as he goes. Akima the Mask Maker appears, and then they battle. So, that is it for the box. Let's open up this big set. Okay, so he has an instruction booklet, a larger one. He has a little sheet of stickers that can go onto this black chest plate, which has stuff on it for some reason. It is weird. Is there just stuff on my sheet or what? Anyway, there is 3 bags of parts, and let's just take a quick look at this large instruction booklet. Of course, it starts off and we go through the instructions, and then here are the parts, and a nice bigger picture of the Bionicle Summer 2016 wave, a nice bigger comic. We have a nice big view of the combination model between him, Storm, Quake, and Lava Beast. And then we have a nice big promo for LEGO Star Wars construction figures for 2016 from The Force Awakens. So, I'm just going to open up the parts now. Alright, so these are the newer interesting parts. First off, we get 4 of these skull spider legs, now recolored in a trans neon yellowish green. So we get 4 of those. We get 2 of these new rock crystal armor pieces in the same color. Really nice to see those in this color now. Then we get this interesting Bionicle G2 headpiece with obviously in trans neon yellowish green. Nice to see that too. A lot of trans neon yellowish green. And we have 2 gold Ben 10 tail things from like 2010. I don't know if these are recolored, but they're gold, so I guess, yeah. And then we get 4 of these recolored enclosed ball joint bone pieces in trans neon yellowish green. If you guys are going to say that this is not a new piece, I get where you're coming from, but this one has the enclosed ball joint area and the other ones did not, so this is technically a recolor. Then we get this new redesign of the Mask of Control, which I will show you a comparison later, but it's really mutated at this point. It has more skeletal teeth down here with a nice dent up here. And then instead of the horns, they have now sort of just like cracked off into these little trans neon yellowish green ear type things. A little weird looking if you ask me. Don't like it as much as the regular Mask of Control, but you know, something. Then we get the jaw piece that will go under it in a gunmetal gray, which will kind of go like this. And it might look kind of weird, but let's, I'm gonna build it. Alright, well this is the completed Umarak the Destroyer, the largest set of Bionicle G2, or I guess the largest character. So, let's get right into him. As for the build, it was one of the more fun builds of G2. It definitely had a lot of complexities, a lot of different stuff. The only complaint I would have with it is probably the fact that when you have complexities in a figure like this that's mostly symmetrical, you have to build that thing more than once, and after once it gets a little boring, but for the most part I actually quite enjoyed it. It was a really fun build, and yeah, it was just a good experience. As for functions, the mask that pops off is back yet again, and it is this Mask of Control that you pop off. Interesting to note that this is a trans orange eye stalk with trans neon green. It looks a little weird, but with the mask on with the red eyes you can kind of see through there. Looks a little cross-eyed from the front, but with the red eyes you can see through there. I think it looks okay. And then the waist turning function is back, and this one works, at least mine works pretty smoothly. You just turn the gear on his back and his waist will turn. So that is pretty cool, but it's starting to get a little gimmicky like last year's arm thing. And then the final function, which everyone is sort of hyping up about, is the function with the hands, how they have gears, and you basically can just open up one set of, this set of fingers, or this pair of fingers, or this thumb here, and they will open and close, and they can hold this much. You can even adjust that and that, so you can hold really big stuff, or you can have them closed like that, or you can just play around with it. I don't know. It works smooth. It's pretty good. It's a little weird sometimes. The gear sort of wants to come out sometimes. It's a little weird, but for the most part it's a pretty smart design, and I guess the only problem I have with it is it makes the hands look a little big, if you notice that. The hands are humongous. So that's that. Postability wise, he's a little hindered in the heel here, or in the ankle. They did use this enclosed ball joint, so you can like move it side to side if you want, like that, but you unfortunately can't move it. You can move it that far forward, and you can't move it back like that much at all. So it's very hindered, and it's kind of a problem in my opinion. They should have used the open ones, because as much as I do like being able to pose it like this, I would have liked it a lot more to be able to pose the ankle a little more open. So I might just switch that out at some point, just to make sure I have maximum posability when I film with this guy, if I do, and in what series I will. But anyway, and then of course he has hips, which the friction gears are still getting kind of used to being on this much weight up top here, so they're a little very tough to, they like to break off from the legs. And then he has shoulders, he has elbows, and of course fingers. No real wrist though. There isn't really a wrist. And then unfortunately he doesn't really have a way to hunch over, so he will kind of look gappy from the front in the neck area, as you can see here. And you can't push that down, which I thought was a huge problem. You see, because when he looks down it looks okay. When he looks sort of forward, maybe to the side, it's okay, but it definitely is very gappy, and I definitely wish you could hunch it over more. I think it looks a little weird like that. The horns sort of stick out a lot, so it will be a lot easier to just pop the mask off, just because the horns are so big. So that could be considered a con. You can move these little shoulder pads back here if you want. I think that's about all the posability you're going to get with this guy. That's about standard, minus the hands. I gotta say, this guy's pretty tall. I mean, he's, I think he'd be a worthy opponent to face a Toa, like with all these big hands. I think he could probably take one out, but he's one of the taller figures, yeah. Not as tall as Grievous though. Unfortunately, he's just not that tall, but he's still really, really tall. As for weapons, I sort of already went over those. It's basically just these claws. He does have shadow traps as just shoulder armor, but they can't move like Umarak the Hunter can. They're just lodged in place, which I actually sort of appreciate, just because I kind of like to have the shoulder armor stay in place. You know, it's a little weird when it just moves around. So now I'm gonna take him and compare him to Umarak. Alright, so right off the bat, you can already tell that Umarak the Hunter actually does have more height on Destroyer just because of his antlers. But if you took his antlers off, yeah, I'd say Destroyer would be maybe a centimeter taller. He's really not as tall as he looks, but anyway, what they did keep from Umarak the Hunter is the two little creepy blade toes that he has, and the more complex leg design here. They sort of kept that aesthetic. And then up top here, more getting to the chest area, they kept the skeletal torso armor piece. They didn't keep this weird mouth in the middle though, that weird sort of teeth, that weird set of teeth that sort of comes out from the middle of his chest. They didn't keep any of that. Instead they added more of the rib sort of feature with the stickers. As for the horns, they kept the aesthetic, but they changed it a lot, so now it's just two giant horns that sort of just stick out, whereas with this one, they do stick out, but they're really well designed and they look really, really cool. And then, as for shoulder armor, he does keep the shadow traps, except on Umarak the Hunter, these can like fully articulate. If I just get the chain out of his arm, they can fully articulate like back and forth and all the way around the place. As for the shadow traps on his shoulders, like I said before, they can't move. They did keep some of the spikes, how they have these like black spikes, but in this set they're Metru red. And then I will compare the Mask of Control in a second, but there's one more thing I want to touch on, and this is probably the biggest one, but the color scheme. Now, if you were to set these two down in front of me and ask me like, are they the same character, I would not say yes, and it's mostly just because of the color scheme. It's not because of, I mean, you can see they both have horns, they both have sort of intricate lower leg designs, they both have a lot of things similar about them, but I would still not say that they're the same character just because this one is trans neon yellowish green and this one is trans, I don't know, apple green, regular green. And if this one would have been that color, or if this one would have followed the color scheme of that, think of how much more everyone would just love this set. And it's just, these colors are overused so much. We saw, not together per se, but on Pohatsu this year, for example, we got so much trans neon green, yellow pieces, it was kind of insane. And black is just a normal color that's usually used for villains, except Umarak, this Umarak, had a lot to go with it. He had this dark tan, he had the Metru red, and the trans apple green. I thought this color scheme was phenomenal, and this one just feels generic to me. And I just can't see enough similarities to the point where I would say, yes, this is Umarak. I get that he's been mutated, I get that he's different, I get that the Mask of Control did a lot of crap to him, but overall, I just don't think that they really are the same character at all. So now I'm gonna compare the Mask of Control with the corrupted Mask of Control. Alright, so here we have the original Mask of Control, and this is the corrupted version. They definitely kept the eye shape and the little symbols on the forehead, but really other than that, there is not much similar about them. They ripped the horns off and replaced them with trans neon yellowish green pieces, and they took the bottom of it off and replaced it with skeleton teeth. I think they both look cool, but I don't, and this is another thing that I noticed, I really don't think that the Mask of Control should be going on this set. I think there should be a larger headpiece that goes on this set, because it just seems a little small to me, but that is just me. Overall, I do actually prefer this version of the Mask of Control just because I love the design of it more, and this corrupted one, it's okay, but it's nothing spectacular. Alright, so, I'd have to say, overall, Umarak the Destroyer is the biggest set, but not the best set. Out of the Wave, yeah, I gotta say, it's probably just my favorite just because they really did a lot of cool things with it. And I would kind of hate to like Storm Beast over this one. So I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. It doesn't wow me to the point where I'm just like, wow, this set is like the best out of G2, but it's, again, it's a nice build, it's got a lot of nice parts to it. It just feels average in the end. It feels like they could have done something more with it, more with the color scheme, more with especially with the way they built the neck and kind of how gappy it is up there. And, you know, that's kind of all I have to say about it, an 8.5. Well, this has been it for LEGO Bionicle Summer 2016 reviews. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed them, because sadly, this wave of reviews is probably going to be my last, even if they continue Bionicle. I'm probably still going to buy the sets, it's just that I'm probably not going to make any more reviews. And I'll make a video to elaborate more on this, to give you my reasoning behind it. But farewell, you guys. It was fun reviewing for you, but it's kind of been it. I'm going to move more into the movie range. But I'll make a video on why that is later. And with that said, I'll see you guys later.